Hey guys, welcome back to my channel, and it's Debsy, and the place to be, it's Debsy. Bloop, that's me. Boop, Debsy. Oh, floofy hair, it's the floofies today. So, I don't know why my skin is so red anyways. Happy Thursday. Thank God it is Friday tomorrow. You didn't get a video out of me last night because I was just dead tired. I had a headache most of the day and I just felt terrible. So I'm not looking that much better tonight. But anyways, happy Thursday, everybody. I hope everybody had a great day. On Tuesday, I watched The Housewives of New Jersey. I'm gonna talk about ladies from New Jersey. So, as you all know, if you've been watching me for a little while, I usually like to take all my notes in this big notebook, this big notebook. So I did that on Tuesday, and I wrote them all down in this book because I'm old school. And then I promptly lost the notes. So I'm going to be going off of what I can remember. I wrote down some notes to keep me on track and jog my memory. So if I missed something, let me know. Tell me what I missed. So we started off with the ending of the Making Mozzarella Memories party at Danielle's. Teresa came out and asked Melissa if she wanted to be in her wedding. And Melissa, this is gonna drive me crazy with these non-bangs. And Melissa said no. Melissa declined and she said no, and I won't be bringing it up again. Right. They hugged and they said everything's okay. Sure. If you believe that, I have a bridge to sell to you. Also in the episode, Paul was over Dolores's. Frank had come back, had been released from the hospital, so he was going to be coming over to do his calendar shoot for the charity calendar. Let me fast forward to the ending of this scene. I'm sorry, but Frank, I like Frank, but Frank is a sexy bunny. It was a little traumatizing. Like, I'm just going to say, if you're a Frank fan and you think he's fine, okay, good for you. But with like, I didn't find it sexy, but I digress. So Frank was coming over to do his shoot for the calendar. He had come in, it seemed like him and Paul and Frank were getting along okay. Frank had said, listen, now that I'm healthy, I'm going to be having some of the guys go out for, guys night out. Would you want to come? And he kind of Paul looked at, Dolores, just because I guess they were supposed to do something and he was looking like, you know, hey, is it okay if I go even though we had something to do? And Frank had said something like, I'm going to, well, I'll get to Dolores with it or something. And Paul kind of caused a little friction with Frank by saying that you never send a woman to do a man's job. And Frank was like, the F does that mean? And I agree with him. Like, Frank was really trying to include Paul and reach out and be, you know, nice to him, and include Paul by adding him to their group chat. And then Paul said that, and Paul was like, listen, Frank was like, I don't know what he meant by that. I mean, I don't have his phone number, so I'm gonna have to reach out to Dolores to get the message to him. That's all. Also, Paul, there's something about his eyebrows that are a little like, I don't know, like I'm not saying he had work done on them. I'm saying they look a little workish. That's all. Also, Melissa, Jackie, and Margaret got together for lunch. I'm going to say it gave kind of a Mean Girls vibe to it. But then again, I mean, that's what Real Housewives is. Real Housewives is women getting together and talking shit on everybody else that's in the cast. That's just what it is. They got together. Jackie looks like she's doing very well on her ED recovery, on her eating disorder, and her recovery from that. But she also had said that, well, they had mentioned to Jackie that Danielle didn't invite her to the mozzarella party because she felt like Jackie was judging her at Margaret's party. And Jackie said something like, well, I was. It looked like, her outfit looked like she slept in it. Now listen, oh, come on. Jackie, I like Jackie, but I can guarantee you there's probably been outfits that Jackie has worn that could have been better. So, I don't know. That was a little bit mean. So then Melissa meets with Danielle at the Envy store, at her store. And because Danielle would like to be like Melissa is as far as it goes with business. So they're talking, and Danielle tells the story about how her and her brother no longer talk. Like, I believe it started off with her brother getting mad because she stopped following him on social media. And then I believe she had also said that her brother cut her whole family, cut like her and her kids and her husband out of his wedding. So they didn't go to the wedding. And Danielle had basically said, listen, I really wish that this hadn't have happened because I miss that relationship. And she was basically telling Melissa, Joe should really try and make up with Teresa because he might very well regret it. And then Melissa, being the great friend that she is to Jackie, she told Danielle everything that Jackie said. So great friend, Melissa, good friend. Also with Rachel. Rachel had a scene. I call it a scene because I think a lot of this is scripted. This I don't think was. Rachel had talked about her miscarriage and also her journey with her experiences with IFV, and it was really nice seeing that side of her that was a little more a little softer and just expounding upon something that happens to a lot of women, and it made her very relatable, and I liked hearing her story, and I liked seeing that side of her. And with Danielle, there was a part where she was having her, I guess it was her family over, her side of the family over to the house, and they were doing a little art show with her daughter. I guess because they couldn't have it at school, so she was having a little art show with her daughter. It was so sweet. It was just the cutest thing. Like, here's the thing. I feel like Danielle is growing on me a little bit more. I didn't like her at first because she was like, my kids are so perfect. My husband is so perfect. Perfect, perfect, perfect. Everything's perfect. But I like seeing this side of her where she's just so proud of her kids, and her kids are like adorable, and she does seem to be a very good mother. And I don't know, she is growing. She's growing on me. She really is. Like, I don't think I gave her enough credit at first, and I was like, I just don't like her. I'm starting to be a little better with her. Melissa and Bill, Jennifer and Bill. Listen, I didn't pay that much attention to her because I'm not a big fan of hers, but she had basically was recounting to Bill what had happened at the mozzarella party with Margaret. And she had asked Bill, am I self-reflective? And he didn't answer. Like, it wasn't even a pause and then he answered. He just didn't answer. And she basically just yelled at him like, hey, why can't you just be on my side once in a while? Which I'm not the biggest fan of Jennifer, but I agree. Like, sometimes you just want that person that's your person to like back you up. Whether they think that you're not right, maybe just once in a while back me up. I'm not saying that her husband should blindly just back her up with everything, but maybe once in a while. That's all I'm saying. Wait a minute. So Teresa, Gia, and Louie were talking, and Gia, and they were talking about Melissa, and Gia had brought up, Gia had actually spilled some tea, because Gia was like, was saying, because Melissa was saying that, that when they were going through all these tough times, she would come over every day and do this and that for them. And Gia was like, that is wrong, because the only time I ever saw them is when there was filming going on. That's it. And what's the other one? Gabriella, she pretty much, she didn't say the same thing, but she was coming to the defense of her mother. And I have to tell you, honestly, I kind of like that they stood up for her mother. They're not going to be, those two, Gia and Gabriella, are two that are just not going to give in and just make nice just to make nice. So that was some tea from Gia. Also, there was a boys' night. And of course, if there's a boys' night, there's always that always means that there is a chance for Joe Gorga to start pounding on table and throwing shit and cussing. Listen, it is getting old. It really is. I get it. You feel like you're the alpha male of this whole circle, but listen, just let other people talk. So they're out, and Joe and Louie is a little bit late to the party. Louie comes in, and Joe brings up the wedding. Well, actually, Louie says we should have a bachelor party. And Joe says, well, who's invited? And then he said, Louie's like, well, what are you trying to ask or something? And Joe brings up the question of who's invited to the wedding. He says that Melissa's family's not invited, and that Melissa's family had done so much for Joe and Teresa's parents. And Louie then says it's about past behavior. Past behavior, to me, sounds like it's past behavior from Melissa. That's what I thought. And he also brings up Melissa's podcast, where she's talking about, where she talks about Teresa. Joe then, of course, has to call, I'm not going to say the P word, but it's a cat, calls Louie a kitty. That's not what it was. But I don't know if Facebook likes, or if YouTube likes me to say that. So called him P word, started, banging on the table, screaming, yelling. Louie goes to talk, and Joe just won't even let him get a word in edgewise, because why would you? He's Joe Gorga. Nobody can talk over Joe Gorga. And I'm not that big of a fan of Louie's at all, but I kind of felt a little bad for him. Louie says he wanted to invite her parents, but Teresa wants just to stand her ground on this. And once again, I feel like she wanted to stand her ground because of the fact that she doesn't think that Melissa had stood up for Louie that much last year. That's what I think. And she's taking that out on Melissa's parents. Louie then basically says, why don't you make up with your sister? Why don't you why don't you talk with Teresa and try and make up with her? And Joe says, I don't know about that. I'm worried about, what's he say? He's worried about getting hurt. And listen, I'm just going to tell you, I think if the Gorgas were to make up with Teresa, well, there we go. There's the end of any storyline they have, because I mean, that's what it's been for years and years and years and seasons and seasons and seasons. That's, I mean, all that there is. The only thing that they've had is this constant fighting with Teresa, that and every few seasons, cheating rumors come up with Melissa, which they're going to come up again this year. So I don't know. I mean, why not just make up just for the sake of your families? And Joe also says Teresa's living in the past. Well, sure she is, but so is he. So are the Gorgas. I just felt bad for Louis, because Louis did seem sincere about wanting them to get along. So that's it. That's what I remember. So tell me, what did you think about this week's episode? And with that, I will bid you adieu. But first, if nobody told you yet today, I love you. You are loved, seen, and heard. Please make sure that you put love, kindness, compassion, acceptance, hope, and positivity out there. Everybody, please treat everybody with kindness, and please care for one another. And I will see you guys possibly tomorrow, possibly on Saturday. But everybody stay warm, stay safe, and I love you guys. Bye.